Did Brian Laundrie's parents fake his death?
From the Latin Post. Brian Laundrie allegedly seen alive in Texas after he underwent surgery to remove part of his jawbone. Brian Laundrie was reportedly seen alive in Texas after he allegedly underwent surgery to fix his underbite. A Twitter account with the handle @manofthelibrary said Gabby Petito's fiancé was seen in Texas recently. It has been nearly a month since authorities found Laundrie's partial skeletal remains in a Florida park. The Twitter user said Laundrie was seen in Texas in disguise with the exact same suit and shirt, referring to one of the photos he posted wherein Laundrie and another man who looks like him can be seen wearing almost similar suits. The Twitter user also shared some photos to prove that Laundrie had removed part of his jawbone after undergoing a mandibulectomy. In the caption, the Twitter user wrote that there is a lot of evidence to suggest that Brian Laundrie got a mandibulectomy to fix his underbite, adding that the mandible portion was planted in the Carlton Reserve, with his belongings. A mandibulectomy is a medical procedure to remove all or a part of your jaw, while the mandible is the largest bone in the human skull that holds the lower teeth in place. The online sleuth's claim seemed to imply that Laundrie underwent mandibulectomy weeks after discovering the skeletal remains, and what was removed from Laundrie's skull was possibly planted in the Florida park. It can be recalled that after a month-long manhunt for their son, the elder Laundries directed the Northport Police and the FBI agents to a swampy area in the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park where Laundrie's partial remains, bag, and notebook were found. Law enforcement officials earlier said the remains include a portion of a human skull, badly decomposed. The FBI said the skeletal remains found in the Florida park on October 20 were confirmed to be Laundrie after a review of dental records. No documents could confirm that Laundrie underwent mandibulectomy. But some netizens agreed to the theory and noticed how Gabby Petito's fiancé had a different nose following the supposed surgery based on the photos shared by @manofthelibrary. Meanwhile, several netizens disagreed with this theory. A Twitter user said if the anthropologist found Laundrie's DNA in the skull, then it's all over. Another user said she does not think this claim was based on an FBI report or a photo of all the bones collected. New photo catches Chris Laundrie bringing notebook, other items to Florida park? A new photo that recently went viral on Twitter suggested that Brian Laundrie's father, Chris Laundrie, may have planted the notebook, skeletal remains, and other items found in the Florida park. A photo shared on Twitter by user @JohnMarchetti showed that Chris carried a white bag similar to what was discovered at the Florida park. A notebook-shaped object can be seen at the bottom part of the said bag together with some various items inside. Some netizens claimed it could be the notebook discovered at the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, while others also suggest it was a different bag. However, there were reports that Chris's shirt in the photo is similar to what he wore when they joined the search that day. Family attorney disputed claims of Brian Laundrie's parents planting their son's remains, items. Questions surrounding the timeline of events between Brian Laundrie's parents telling authorities they were going to search for their son and the discovery of his belongings have been raised by many people. Former Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce of NYPD earlier told ABC7 that it's quite strange that the elder Laundries went to this exact spot and found the bag and the notebook in this particular area. Boyce noted that there were just too many strange turns that Laundrie's parents have not been involved in it to not believe that something is amiss here. So, they go to this one remote location. All of a sudden we found something. We found the remains. There's a lot of things here that don't add up to coincidence, so you wonder how they got there and what they knew all along, Boyce said. But Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, disputed claims that the elder Laundries could have planted their son's remains and personal items, calling it ludicrous. Do you really think that the Laundries has skeletal remains of their son, in a plastic bag, and brought them to present to the Carlton Reserve? Bertolino earlier told News Nation Prime. He added, "Do you realize how ludicrous that is? How aggravating, how maddening it is to even hear those things?" The Northport Police had also said they were 100% confident that the elder Laundries never brought anything with them into the park when Laundrie's remains and some of his items were discovered.
My note. The Northport Police say they are 100% confident that the Laundries didn't plant anything in the Carlton Reserve, but can we trust this? The Northport police also thought Roberta Laundrie was Brian Laundrie. They said they knew exactly where Brian was when they didn't. They also never found Brian after weeks of searching.
Brian Laundrie was named a person of interest by the Northport police after returning home on September 1st or 10 days before Gabby Petito was reported missing by her family. Petito disappeared on a cross-country road trip with Laundrie. The couple was traveling to Oregon when the YouTuber stopped communicating with her family in Wyoming in late August. Gabby Petito's body was found at the Spread Creek Dispersed Campground near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming on September 19. A Teton County, Wyoming coroner said she was strangled to death by a human being, and the manner of death was homicide.
From the U.S. Sun. Unsolved mysteries. New Brian Laundrie speculation as parents seen retracing steps and sleuths point out 7 unanswered questions. Web sleuths claim that several unanswered questions relating to the Brian Laundrie investigation still remain after his parents were spotted retracing his steps. Pictures showed Chris and Roberta Laundrie walking in the Florida wilderness on Tuesday, weeks after coroners confirmed that their son died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Laundrie's parents each carried a backpack as they trawled through the campgrounds that investigators and volunteers endlessly combed during search efforts that lasted weeks. Following a 3-hour morning journey deep into the backcountry, Chris and Roberta reemerged, holding hands as they walked back to their car. It's the first time that they were at the site since Laundrie's skeletal remains were unearthed on October 20th. After the remains were found, the bones were sent to an anthropologist for further examination as initial autopsy findings came back conclusive. Laundrie died from suicide, but the date of death still remains unknown. He was first reported missing on September 17, days after allegedly telling his parents that he was going for a hike in the snake-infested Carlton Reserve. Web sleuths are left wondering where the gun that Laundrie killed himself may be located. A dry bag and notebook believed to belong to the fugitive were discovered when the remains were found. The Laundrie family lawyer Steve Bertolino said he doesn't know if the weapon the 23-year-old used was recovered by police. He revealed that Chris and Roberta voluntarily surrendered all guns in their home to law enforcement on September 17, the day Laundrie went missing, as cops completed their missing person paperwork. It was discovered that a handgun wasn't in the case. Bertolino said he does not know if the weapon Brian used was recovered by police near Brian's remains or among his possessions. The FBI has been contacted for comment on Bertolino's remarks. He told The Sun, "Imagine, with the frenzied atmosphere at the time, if the public thought Brian had a gun. I can't speak to why law enforcement did not reveal the info, but we spoke about it at the time and I believe they felt as I did." John Walsh, the former host of America's Most Wanted, claimed in October that they may have armed their son with a gun and helped him avoid police. He said, "They're actively aiding and abetting his escape and they're helping him stay out there." There's no evidence to support Walsh's claims. Initially, it was reported that Laundrie left the family home on September 14, but this was revised to September 13. The revision resulted in a barrage of speculation among Reddit users. And, the FBI investigated reports of a burner phone that was bought on the day Laundrie went missing. Agents examined security footage that was taken at a store near his parents' home in Northport, Florida. A source told TMZ that Brian purchased a phone at the AT&T store on September 14 with an older woman. The store told The Sun, "We're not confirming or denying anything and we're not making any statements, thank you, and have a great day." Online sleuths speculated what may be inside Laundrie's notebook after it was first discovered. Some amateur detectives thought it may contain chilling drawings, while others predicted a confession note may be inside. A friend of Brian's told The Sun exclusively that the notebook could contain clues to solve Gabby's death. One Facebook detective said, "I think it's probably his art. They were both into drawing." An internet sleuth feared, "My theory is drawing of the events that led up to it and during her strangulation. It's going to be dark, sick. It's not known what's inside the notebook or if it contains anything at all." Criminologist Casey Jordan said a notebook pointed to the possibility of a suicide note, 7 News reports. Jordan told CNN, "That really raises the question if indeed this is Brian Laundrie, and if he died by his own hand, did he take the time out to write out a note of explanation, maybe even regret? Something that would give answers to not only police. If that notebook is there is a good chance there could be a note." Jordan speculated that the notebook could provide law enforcement with answers. It's not known if the answers will be made public, as one Facebook sleuth user said, "We're not owed a glance into it. As much as we all want the details, we're not privy to any of them." The search for Laundrie is over following a lengthy search in the wilderness. Forensics expert Jennifer Shin believes there's enough evidence to close the case. She told The Sun, "While we will have to wait for the completion of the investigation, which will likely include attempts to examine and decipher the notebook, the circumstances seem pretty clear, and not that unusual. There is no indication at this time there are other individuals involved." Former NYPD homicide detective Tom Joyce also thinks Gabby Petito's murder case will be closed, due to the exceptional circumstances. He said, "Gabby's murder will be closed with what's known as an exceptional clearance, or where the suspect and culprit is known but cannot be arrested, in this case, because he's dead. It's possible that the case could end with an unfulfilled expectation, according to reports, as Gabby's parents may never get the answers about what occurred before and after their daughter's death." Laundrie was never charged in relation to Gabby's disappearance and death. He was named a person of interest in her murder. Here is a clip from Joseph Morris' YouTube channel talking about the cadaver dogs searching for Brian Laundrie.
This one's a bit of a tough one to get through, so I'm going to just get right into it. And basically, my channel is casting doubt on the Laundrie family basically finding the remains of their son Brian Laundrie so quickly. So let's get into it. We got an interview with a canine expert who basically also is an expert in this area and casts doubt on the Laundrie family finding the remains so quickly.
Thank you for having me. And if the body had been there when they went by with cadaver dogs, and the body had been there for more than 2 or 3 minutes, the odor would have come through the water, and yes, they should have been able to locate that body.
So just to be clear, cadaver dogs can sniff out a body even if it's underwater?
That's correct.
Just quickly, take us through the training that these dogs go through, because I think that some people don't realize that this is different from the way that other police canines are trained.
So I just want to point out there real fast that the canine expert basically says that you can find bodies underwater. So there was a lot of discrepancy out there that, because it was underwater, they couldn't have found the body. But in actuality, they could have found the body. They could have found the remains. So that is out of the question, that because it was underwater, they couldn't have found it. More on that in a bit, but I do have data actually showing that the area has been dry for weeks leading up to finding the remains.
It is. And there's a couple of different ways of doing it. The methodology that I trained with was you actually use human parts in training the dog. So you bury parts of a human, could have been medical surgery. You let them deteriorate. When I was in Germany doing some training, opened a freezer one time and I looked at all sorts of human parts, not breakfast. So close the door, off we go. But that's what you have to do with a cadaver dog, is you are using human parts. It can't be necessarily from a medical hospital all the time that treats cancer, because you're training a cancer dog and not a human cadaver dog.
So,
the parts
So yeah, basically, canines are meant to be trained to smell human parts underwater, is what this canine expert is saying. He's an expert in this area. I see there's a lot of people casting doubt, but I would love to know if you guys are an expert at canines. So let's get back into it.
Ask you this.
Yes.
Knowing what you know as you do, I mean, you know exactly how these dogs work, what they can find, what they can't find. Does this make sense to you that the cadaver dogs were out there previously and they didn't find anything, and now the family, the parents of Brian Laundrie, go with the authorities to the scene today, and they're almost immediately able to find his personal items and his remains?
It's highly suspicious.
Also from Joseph Morris on YouTube, you can see his video talking about Brian Laundrie updating his social media. This was live streamed on October 19th, just one day before the parents allegedly found Brian's remains.
Someone has deleted Brian Laundrie's Instagram, and Facebook is reporting that it wasn't them. As you can see, down at the bottom it says user not found, and his followers and who he's following are disappearing. Here's another screenshot of his account, and as you can see, it's going away, and Facebook didn't do it. Who did?
Okay, guys, so do you remember that text that Gabby had sent from her phone to her mother that said, call Stan, and all she was getting voicemails, and Nikki Schmidt was like, Gabby never called her grandfather Stan, but then some people thought it meant send the authorities now. This, what I'm about to show you, might clear some things up. Now, I did retweet it to Brian Etten and Josh and JB from WFLA, and as well as Gabby's parents on Twitter, because this really does need to be looked into. Okay, so I'm going to show you this, and this is really weird. Okay, so Kim Expressions had posted this on Twitter 6 days ago, but what she posted was something that was out there on 10/15. Okay, so if you look above, I had retweeted this to Brian Etten of News Nation and WFLA to JB and Josh, as well as Gabby's parents, Joe, Nikki, Jim, and Tara, and the FBI Denver department. Okay, so Kim Expressions had posted this 6 days ago. She too tweeted it out to Brian Etten and used the hashtags. So I'm going to read it. So this really does clarify the whole call Stan text that went from Gabby's phone to Nikki Schmidt's phone. And that's why Nikki said Gabby never called her grandpa Stan. Okay, it said, I sent this tip to the FBI, but I think it got lost as there was no follow-up. My lead is Stan Anderson, Brian Laundrie's father's friend and ex-business partner. I am convinced he's hiding in Mexico where he can't be extradited to the United States. I am from Bayport, New York, and I was a close family friend of the Laundries while they lived there. Their lawyer's wife is Lori Anderson Bertolino. She is related to Stan Anderson. I think it may be her brother or something, though I am not sure. This was years ago. Brian's parents took him to Mexico to stay with his father's ex-business partner, Stan Anderson. Brian is hiding in Mexico. His parents drove him to the Mexican border where he walked across to meet Stan. The final text Gabby sent to her mother, quote, can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls. This was actually Brian trying to coordinate his escape to Mexico with his parents and Stan Anderson after he murdered Gabby. He meant to send that to his mom, but he got the wrong mom and his phone. He's in Mexico. I think he got phones mixed up. If Gabby and Brian had the same phone, maybe he thought he had his phone in his hand and texted from Gabby's phone. This would really clarify the mistake of why he used the word Stan. Or maybe Gabby had mom in her phone as his mom and her mom. I don't know. But somehow, this really does clear everything up. Like, if this sounds legit to me, the FBI, please look into this. Apparently it got lost. But again, I just retweeted it from Twitter from Kim's Expressions. She posted it from somebody else. So I'm not sure who to trace it back to. But this is major. This is a major lead. And I know they found his book bag and notebook in the reserve. And we're waiting to see about his remains, if it is him or not. I don't think it is, but look into this.
Is Brian Laundrie in Mexico? Internet thinks it's him in viral pic at restaurant.
So at this point, I feel like I can talk about the whole Brian Laundrie situation. At first, I didn't want to talk about it because of the fact that my safety, I didn't know where it was going on. But let me just put this out there, guys. He's not dead. I promise you, he's not dead. I know his family very well, and his family would be broken if he was dead. Broken, okay? His sister especially would be like, oh my God, like, I don't know about you guys, but if you guys are fooled by this scam that I called it in the beginning, Northport police are garbage. But now I'm open to answering some questions about my relationship with Brian, because at this point he's probably living Joe Goldberg's life in Paris.